Right then, GTA San Andreas fans. I haven't checked GitHub to see if they've put two-factor or 2FA or whatever, two-factor authentication into it, which means I'm not quite sure when the last time will be that I upload any source code. So I thought I'd do the thing where we started all this from, which was 3 years ago with Vice City. The whole frustration of making a cheat app was the fact that we've had these apps and these pinash solutions and PCSX2 and debugging and cheat engine and everything else for 20 odd years, yet you can't just Google a simple template. So without repeating the wheel, obviously I've created the San Andreas cheat menu now, and obviously that can be used for all games. So you basically just need to open it up, and even though this one is a little bit extended and the Vice City one was a lot simpler, it's just a case of basically deleting all of this crap on the left and the right, and then just keeping these main cheats and swapping the addresses and any values needed for the other games. This one got a little out of control because I focused on the vehicle IDs and the teleporting. However, I did decide to pretty much stay up all night, at least for the past, 6 o'clock? Fucking, my God. So for the past 6 hours, I've written some new files. Just quickly go over them. So I've made a file, a master file, I'm calling it, that does one simple write byte. And it implements the feature that I removed from the cheat app, which is using the pinash app ini file. So you can ignore everything within it. All you need to know is that the only line you need is this. And the whole point of that was that no fall damage was a dynamic address. So it was a complete pain in the ass, and I can't use pointers. So to get around it, what I was doing was running the app when this was on 0, would then switch it to 1, which would enable no fall damage. And what it was doing was searching an array of bytes for our dynamic address. When it found it, it would print the address here as address original, and then it would set that to 1. And then if you wanted to reboot it and set this back to 0, restart the app or whatever, and run it again, then it would give you if it already had an original entry, it would give you a new entry, and it was just a way of helping to find the dynamic addresses. Now, it's pretty cool, but I thought, well, if we can just use an initialization file and a config file, then, like, we've got pinash and we've got cheat engine and we've got all this stuff. Why can't we just make it so that the user doesn't need to do anything at all other than open up the ini file, type in the cheat that they want to add, my new cheat, and then just set it to 0 or 1 and enable it or not. Well, obviously, in order for that to work, then you have to do what I've done, which is actually create the code and stuff in there. But that's a bit of a pain in the ass because we're trying to get around that. So again, I've spent the past 6 hours making what is master files. So this file here will write the byte, but it doesn't just write any byte. What it does is it loads the ini file. Once it's loaded the ini file, it'll check for the cheat address and the cheat value that you want to write based on our ini file here. So whereas our old one here wasn't fully implemented because I was going to do it, but then realized it'd take fucking ages. So we only needed this literally one line, which could exist anywhere, and that was for no fall damage. But we then removed it. The ini file that I've got now is this, which is no fall damage is still there, even though the cheat's actually removed, but it was just a test. We've got this, which is just junk and jargon, it'll never be loaded. And then anything with cheat and a number from the number 1 onwards, as many as you'd like to add consistently, will become a new cheat. So you can change the color of the cheat app stuff, you can change the caption, you can change the label. You can switch between 2 functions at the moment. You can either write a single byte or you can write multiple bytes, so 2, 3, or 4. And you can set the cheat address that you want to write either a byte or bytes to, and you can set the value that you want to write it to when checked, and then when it's unchecked, just the value that it was to return back to normal. You can transfer your pinash data from here, As you can see, cheat 1 example, I've renamed it something stupid, set the function to byte, set a random address, set a random value back to normal. Same again, cheat 2, I've typed this in manually, cheat 4, cheat 5, cheat 6. So if I now go, just copy and paste, and go cheat 7, cheat 7, cheat 7, cheat 7, 7, cheat 7, cheat 7, cheat 7. And what we're going to do is we're going to pick one of the cheats because we'll just do this in real time to kind of explain what's going on. So let's have a look here. Let's load this up. Let's try and find some cheats. And we go to the in-game cheats and we're going to pick this one. We've already got super jump enabled, so that's kind of pointless. We do flying boats. Flying boats is one that I haven't added yet. So we go down to cheat 7, push cheat 7, and we're going to call it flying boats. All boats fly. And we're going to give the caption boats fly. And the label can also be flying boats. We can just switch that around. It's going to be just a byte, so we'll do the byte right, and we're going to put the address in there for it, and we got a value 0, 1 already. Okay, so we're going to save that ini file, and it has to be in this location. We've already got our cheat menu loaded here, so attach it to PCSX2, and I'm going to make sure that, oh, that's a bad idea, don't want to do that, and cause issues, right, load up the correct save state, and I suppose I just need to go into, edit our menu. What we're going to do is stick a new checkbox down there, that's checkbox number 31, we're going to stick a new label by there, that's label 26, we're going to put them next to each other just so that we can see what the hell's going on, and then we're going to save that as just a test for now so I don't interfere with anything. Twist. Okay, we're going to close it just to make sure to avoid a couple of bugs with cheat engine and doing things during editing things or whatever. And then we're going to boot up the script. Obviously, you'll just have an exe to do this, but I'm doing it manually. And as you can see, boats and flying boats is now updated. If we go to our sheets and we go to boats, where's it gone? Here it is. That should change to a 1 when we enable this. There you go, flying boats. That's the byte and that's the 4 bytes. And the colors updating. And this works for, as you can see, everything. That one there is riot mode. Yep, that's riots. And so on and so forth. And you can do it in real time as well. So we'll go back to the PCSX2 folder, about finish companion, and my cheat. No, actually, we'll just go down and just change boats fly to hello world with a W, with an extra W. Okay, so we saved that in real time, and obviously now, boop, 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 boop. Oh, maybe I haven't added the ability to check in real time. Okay, so there's one more thing I need to do, which is to add the check in real time, but that's no problem because you can always close down the exe and reboot it. Obviously, in this case, I haven't compiled the exe yet, so I'm going to boot it from the dev file, and hello world has been updated. So I think that's pretty cool. Obviously, this is solely dedicated for San Andreas now because it's like kind of made the mistake of not doing this from the start. We started off with essentially a modular cheat engine, simple app with just 9 key mappings and buttons or whatever for Vice City. And nobody did anything with it for 3 years, so that's why I did the Vice City thing. But then the vehicle spawning and the teleport thing kind of take over, and then I went back to the start and thought, right, shit, we need to go back and do this again. So where to go from here, I suppose it's going to be a case of I'll just post um, this version 7.04, which I don't think I posted that updated version. There's not much difference in it between that one and the one on GitHub anyway. And keep it as it is. Then I'll also post this new one that I've just showcased with the dynamic shit as a separate one. And then I suppose I could do a tertiary file, which is just not the GDA San Andreas code, and this is just that code. So essentially, that would just be template 1, 2, 3, 4. I've tested 5 at the moment on that one. You do need Cheat Engine, obviously, if you want to add a new checkbox and a new label, and then subsequently a new cheat in the ini. But there's nothing stopping me adding, say, just to this file, for example, that one that I just loaded. I could just preload this menu with 100 checkboxes and labels, and all the user needs is that ini file. Then they don't need anything else. We don't need Cheat Engine installed. You don't you will just literally need a wow. I mean, the size of the exe is going to be insanely tiny because it's 11 kilobytes for the code. So if it's 800 or almost 900, that results, was it 877 results in a 7.3 megabyte file. So there's probably a certain amount of that file that's always going to exist. I imagine this entire exe is probably 7 megabyte no matter how much you put in it, whether there's no code or lots of code. It's going to be an insanely small file to do what I can't believe people haven't done for 20 years, and for some reason it's been left to me. So it's not going to work perfectly. I'm not a programmer, but I still thought it was pretty cool and worthy of a rant and me staying up 6 hours to write fucking like 20 lines of fucking code. How it all started though was obviously a little bit different because they'd already done the base work. So I write my code shit because I'm a shit programmer, basically. Like, I just write it all like that. And then once the entire app was working, I then shifted from if end statements to else ifs. And they kind of went all right. But then I had to add a timer for the weapon skill so that the player could add some to read the messages and stuff. So then that all had to be fucking concatenated into this. So there's been a couple of changes. Like the code is the functions of the code are essentially the same, but there's been a couple of changes that I can't 100% guarantee are absolutely perfect because I'm completely shit at code and really have no fucking idea what I'm doing. And the only reason I can barely work with Lua is just because I did crappy stuff with it 20 years ago, and that was for XCOM, and I just thought it was kind of fun. Anyway, whatever, rant over, fucking enjoy. PS, yes, obviously you can use it with any game that you want because it's attached to PCSX2. So it's a fully dynamic modular write bytes and byte function app for anything else. Plus you can add the array of byte scanning function in there as well, which is the no fall damage dynamic thing. Whatever, that's enough to cover it for now. I'll make a better video when I actually do the release, probably later on tonight or maybe tomorrow once I've checked it after some sleep. Peace.